So I decided to make a video on secular humanism, and why a lot of atheists aren't humanists. So if you guys are interested in those topics, stay tuned because this is that video. So I guess the best place I could start off at is high school, my senior year, when I dropped out due to my self-discovery. I was really interested in discovering who I was and how I thought, and what kind of person I really was, and what I hold true and what I held true. Because I was going to church at the time. I was a Christian. I still kind of, to this day, I still would consider myself a Christian because I do think Jesus taught a good message. But all right, I'm gonna go off on this little tangent just so I can explain this. I think Jesus was a real person, spoke an incredibly great message that would really have helped people progress in a positive manner and a positive means. And I think that what happened was that 300 years, people realized that Jesus' message was really this good, and the Roman Church, in order to gain power and to gain order over the country, bogarted Jesus' message, took it, institutionalized it, and just had to leave certain messages that he had in there, like the four Gospels, and the rest of the stuff that was added to the Bible was added to the Bible to institute a certain level of authority and power over the majority of the population. Uh, Sorry, on the phone. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Jesus and Christianity and the religion. But yeah, so after I dropped out of high school, back to the point. So after I dropped out of high school, I came to a lot of self-discovery, started searching for myself, and I really came to the point I was just like, well, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a full Christian because, there's Christians over here that just believe anything in the Bible. They're like Bible humpers, the term that I coined, by the way. These freaking Bible humpers out here just really don't understand Jesus' basic message. I mean, these people go to church, throw money in a magic basket, and they really don't understand that, Jesus' main message was to help people, to be an active help and an active aid to everybody within the world. But they neglect that message for one that bashes homosexuals and, talk shit about abortion when they're not willing to give up any money to help the poor babies that are here now. And I was like, so I can't connect to Christianity. I was like, what do I really hold dear? What do I consider the most important thing ever? And before this, I came to the conclusion that, as humans, we have the power to organize to a degree that we could change stuff within our world and affect it within our world. Like the carrier pigeon is dead because of us. So I knew that humans had the mass amount, the power and ability to create and cause great change, and mostly negatively is what I've seen within the world. Is that humans cause war, nuclear bombs, all this stuff, death, massacre, genocide. That's generally what I've seen from humanity as doing great things. And I was like, well, I do think that people have the ability to help people too, and that we have the ability to change stuff for the better. And that's when I came to the position that humans have the ability and the possibility to change the world in a very much so positive aspect and a positive means and in a positive way, with positive aspects and positive means in a positive way. There we go. And I really came to the point of just like, so I value human life. I value human life to a large degree because of the fact that, we can do a lot of stuff. It's just that, a lot of religions, a lot of people get tied up in a whole bunch of other shit that really doesn't matter. It really doesn't mean a lot of stuff. And then kind of ignore the main thing that's really right in front of us, that we all suffer, and that there's a lot of people suffering in the world, but we choose to ignore them because of religion and other such institutions as it. We choose to ignore the stuff because of institutions like religion and government and other institutions as such as religion. I hope that sentence makes sense. Dang it. I kind of want to. All right, I'm gonna make this video. Please ixnay on that last sentence. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the main thing that people neglect to realize is that we all need help and that we should help people. So it's like, I put value in human life. I put value in people because I think people should suffer less and should be happy and have free will and have the choice and freedom to actually do stuff that betters them and the world around them. I was like, so what's the point of this? Like what does that make me? Like, I don't know any denomination. Buddhism isn't about that. Judaism, as far as I knew back then, wasn't about it, and now I know isn't about it like that. Christianity wasn't about it. I mean, Jesus' message was. So I was like, and I still go to church, even today because of that message that Jesus taught that was just fucking solid, rock on, freaking awesome. It was literally like a message from a humanist to a certain degree. Um, but uh, but what was I gonna say? Yeah. Oh yeah. that there wasn't anything that I could be really connected with. I really didn't understand or how to describe myself. What could I be connected to? You know, who could I be connected to? I was like, oh, humans. So I value humans. And I came from humans. I was like, so I value humans, but I think that humans have the power through communication and the ability to organize that we can change the world for better, or if we choose to do nothing about helping the world, make it worse. And I was like, I'm a humanist. And I literally came up with the word humanist by myself. Never heard the word before. Or I may have heard it, but I never actually knew it. And I literally grammatically put it together like humanist. And I wrote humanism, like the doctrine to which, you know, humans have the most value within the world, and that we should put, yeah, the humans have the most value in the world, and we have a power and ability to help and change the world around us just by, you know, us being able to communicate and organize. Wrote these two definitions down, ran around my house for like the next 3 days, happy as shit. I was like, oh, should I be getting Webster and shit? And I finally looked in the dictionary, like 1798 humanism. Like, ah, son of a bitch. But I actually, true story, I originated the word humanism and humanism on my own accord. So yeah. But after that, I started spend. I was in a hotel for 3 months, looking to get an apartment, so on and so forth. I really came to this understanding of humanism, the world, and I came to even deeper level of self-discovery and self-understanding about my position in the world and how I saw the world and how I felt about the world. And during this position, or during this, you know, spiritual, you know, journey that I was on, I came to a certain day that, you know, a lot of stuff just hit me. I came to like a lot of different positions, a lot of different understandings, and a lot of different stuff just about, you know, who I was and how I saw the world. And on this path, I actually hit atheism to a certain degree. It was like a stop on the path. So I was walking, I was like, you know, I think I understand human psychology to the highest degree, and I think humanism. There's a humanism or humanist perspective on psychology that's better than Freud had, and that's just a random point. But I do think that there's a higher state of psychological understanding that comes from a level of understanding our human interest and our human perspective, rather than Freudian, which is animalistic. But animalistic, socially animalistic. But anyways, back to my stop on my road to spiritual journey. I came to a lot of this understanding. I pretty much came to the point that I was like, the whole world makes sense to me. Like the progression of how the world came up to this point, at least at the time that was happening, I was like, I can analyze pretty much all the reasons that we act and think the way that we do. And to me, I don't see a God there. You know, it's like, so that means, is there no God? Like, does that mean that atheism is more logical, more beneficial than the belief in God? And it's just like, no, no, I'm not doing it. I stopped myself. I was like, I'm not going to atheism. I'm not going to be that. And I kept going because I was like, you know, I got to think this out. I have to think this out to the end. You know, this is me. You know, this is me in my life. This is my own perception. I already came with the definition humanism. I'm not stopping here, and I didn't. And trust me, I am fucking incredibly joyous. I'm so happy that I didn't. So I kept thinking about it. I was like, you know what? The world is insanely beautiful. If we have the ability to every single day help the world and help the people in the world get a little bit better, and we can help people in the world get a little bit better every single day, and that would just be positive. That's a world worth living for. That's a world worth fighting for. That's a world worth existing for. So even if God doesn't exist, there's still people here to care about and to love, and that's enough for me to freaking move on and be happy. And that's why I came to humanism. And that's why I think a lot of atheists aren't humanists, because when I came to that atheist stage, or when I came to the, you know, the atheism on the side of the road, I could have accepted it right there, and it was a hard, realistic, real logical viewpoint on the world. It's a very logical viewpoint on the world. I'm not saying atheism to a certain degree is not logical, but to stop there because it's a hard, and if you come to it on your own, you do feel a sense like it makes complete freaking sense, and then you see the world just logically in a whole different light, in a whole different means. But to stop there, too many atheists stop there and don't take the next step of saying, what do I value? They come to this point in position of understanding the world logically, and they don't come to the next step, and the next step is what I value, how do I see the world, what effect do I want to have on the world, how and what is important to me, and why are these things important to me, and who am I in comparison to the world with this new stance on life and understanding that I've gained. And that's what secular humanism is. It's a step of coming to atheism, after coming to atheism, saying, you know what I really value? I value people. I value life. I value the fact that we can be kind to each other, and that people can be kind to each other just because of the fact my parents were kind to each other. I had friends, and I grew up in a nice place, and you know what? Everybody should experience that exact same experience that I had, because that's what value really means. That has value. And that's what's important. Secular humanism is the understanding that you see the world logically and from a certain perspective and a certain perception, that you don't consider there to be a God. But not, and that's the thing, shouldn't be equated so much with atheism, that not only do you not, just because you don't see the fact that there isn't a God, you still do good. You still see good and positivity in the world. It's not about, in your life, that's the main thing. Secular humanism, atheism is not what your life is about. Helping and loving and caring for each other and caring for people and caring for, caring for just the average life of every freaking person. That's what secular humanism is about. Not this whole rampant attack on religion or rampant attack on this or that. Secular humanism is about coming to an atheistic point, and from this atheistic point saying, well, if there's no God, then shoot, we can get over this. Not now we can get over God, but we can get over this shit a lot easier than we thought. Because God's not going to stop us from helping each other. God's not going to stop us from being a good influence on each other. The problem is, if there is no God, then the problem is just us. And that's pretty fucking easy. That's that simple. Now, since I do believe in God, I'm gonna explain certain things. I gotta bring it up because I do believe in God. I'm just saying from the secular humanist point of view, kind of perspective, that if there is no God, then it's just us, and if it's just us, then we should really freaking help each other. Like now, we should just help each other because it's just us, and we should be happy with that. That we can help each other. But I got to go back to God because I do believe in God, and I know personally, I can say I know God's real. What I was gonna say. So after that, I still believed in God. I've had a certain sense of God. I still questioned. I still looked and searched for God. It wasn't like, and God was still a big part of my life, and I'm very much so happy for that, for keeping that part of me, that side of me, because I came to great revelation, a great connection with God, great ideas of God that would just, they're just so fun and so imaginative and so happy and joyful to actually come to. Like, I remember he used to say, I think the universe is God's subconscious just working, or God's consciousness working. The universe is like just like the intricate stuff in the universe, how beautiful it is, and how crazy stuff happens and reacts in the universe, how just freaking awesome it is. It's just like, it's so incredibly beautiful. I consider this, like God's subconscious, and yeah, what I was gonna say. What else was I gonna say? So yeah, and it also helped me get through certain times, and God helped me out with some stuff that I would never been able to help myself out with, and I'm very much so happy that I kept that belief in God. But I'm still a humanist to this day, and I guess I would consider myself a Christian partly. I detach myself from the supernatural ideas or the ideology of the supernatural, if that makes sense. And I kind of go to the point of understanding that God is natural. He's with us, or God is with us through nature, and God is with us constantly through this environment to which we're living in. So I do reject the understanding of the supernatural, or if I reject it, even if I don't fully reject the understanding of the supernatural, which generally doesn't conform to most humanistic or secular humanistic perspectives, I reject the understanding that because the possibility of the supernatural exists, that for some reason gives us reason why we can't help each other. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That I reject the understanding that maybe there's supernatural stuff out there, so we don't have to help anybody. There might be something supernatural out there, so why the fuck should I help anybody? That's what I fucking reject. I reject that completely and totally. There's no real fucking point. I mean, how can you do that? It's like, what? I see someone starving in front of me. I'm not going to help him because of the fact that I reject. Well, there's a homeless person starving in front of me, and I'm not going to help him because of the fact there might be something supernatural out there. Like, really? What's not supernatural? Burger fucking King, okay? You can get him a freaking hamburger or something. And I'll end on this. I think Jesus probably would have agreed with me that I think a lot of people who go to church should go out and help people. You know, I think the church should run and should get enough money to continue running, continue doing the work they do. But I also think that people who give money to the church maybe should, you know, hold off at a good $5. You know, to give it, you know, $40, hold off on $5 and take that $5 that Sunday or that week and find good ways to help people on the street, or find good ways, a good charity to give that $5 to. But most churches, you know, act like the charity. You know, like, you know, Jesus said, "Go out and help the poor," but you don't need to do that. We'll do the legwork for you. And I reject that understanding, that notion too. But yeah, so that's my understanding on humanism. Why I think a lot of humanists, atheists, aren't humanists, and secular humanism. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have any question? I know I like stumbled and rambled a little bit at points of times, but if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's on one of the sides. But yeah, and if you guys got any topics you would want me to talk about or make a video about, let me know. All right, deuces. Yep, trying to get my subscribers up.